You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
We're back. This is the Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. So get your horns up because here we go. Horns Up Talking Texas. Joshua Fisher, Nikki Snacks Kreider, Alex Toss Me the Rock Desopoulos, who's on a quick break today, and the Quan Cosby. We're joined by one of the best, if not probably the best all-purpose player we've had in Texas football history. And that's saying something. One of the most dominant guys, former first-round pick. Led the team in all-purpose yards all 4 years. Only player to do that, and still holds the record for most receiving yards by a running back. We got the speedster, Eric Metcalf, joining the boys. Eric, how you doing, man?
Used to be speedster, but I'm good.
No, bro.
I'm sure you could still outrun Josh if I put money on it. You could definitely still outrun Josh here.
Absolutely not even close to true. No offense, Metcalf, because Nick and I are on a softball team where I stink on ice, which we've put in the public that I'm not a good athlete, but the umpire in our softball league did tell people on our team that I was the fastest guy in the league. So I don't know.
that's where I am with this speed thing. People know my speed from years past, so I just talk about it and let them talk about it. If I go out on the field, they're like, "Oh, he's slow." But if I never go out there, then they just keep believing I'm still fast even at this age, and that's what I'm going for.
I like that, but hey, what I do, Eric, somebody talk about speed, and I was like, "Listen, I don't run for free anymore." So I don't have to worry about it.
That's a good.
I don't run for free.
Hey, to take that statement even further, I always tell people I don't play football for free. I haven't played football for free since high school.
That's awesome.
I like that.
Yo, the guys these days don't play football for free either.
They don't play football for free. No one plays football for free. Yeah, they do. Let's talk about our team real quick, Metcalf, because you're so on Twitter, you're very involved with what's going on at the university. You're cheering not just the football team on, not just the track team on, but women's softball, men's baseball, golf, all that you're heavily involved in. If you were a player today, how would that inform you and kind of motivate you to kind of take the team to the next level as a football player? How much would that impact your motivation to go out there and dominate your following season?
I mean, if you can't be motivated by the fact that we won 3 national championships in the past couple of weeks, have an opportunity to win a couple more in the next couple of weeks, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, first and foremost, you step on that field, and competition in itself should motivate you to go out there and be the best that you can be. But when you see other programs around your university thriving, and you're the only one really not that hasn't done anything yet, you have to be motivated by that. And if you're not, we don't need you on that campus.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's interesting because we have these guys who are 4- and 5-star recruit athletes, right? And you yourself, clearly, if you look at your high school track record, no pun intended, you have the records that still stand today. Clearly you had the athletic ability, but you must have had the work ethic to kind of take off in college and go to the NFL. What do you think the issue is right now with some of these guys? How do we get that work ethic back on campus? Why have we lost that?
It's hard to say. I mean, in years past, kids, high school coaches, and even parents had looked at Texas kind of as a country club. Like, they're not going there to play football and get better. It's just it's about being on that campus and just lounging around. And that's why we weren't winning games. That's why we weren't getting a lot of kids, because that's how they were. That was the perception of the school. I think for each individual, they should be motivated in themselves. I mean, granted, you got guys who are 4 stars and 4 and 5 stars, but that's not it. You can't take the stars on the field in between those white lines. You have to be able to play football when it's all said and done. And so for me, my motivation was, first of all, my dad played in the NFL, so I wanted to be like him.
Shout out to Terry Metcalf.
But if you take that equation out of it, when I stepped on the field, I wanted to be the best player on the field, not position, on the field. I wanted to be the guy that everyone talked about. And that's how I viewed it throughout my career. I just wanted to be the best guy, because I always ask kids when I talk to them, like, if you had the opportunity to, and it's a lot different now because they're getting paid, but if you had the opportunity to make $3 million and you never do anything, or no one ever knows you, or make 1.5, and everyone knows you, who would you be? And everybody, not everybody, but most people say the $3 million because it's the money. I said, I'd rather be the 1.5 because that means I did something when I was in this league or in college. I left a legacy. And so that for me, I think about people knowing who I am. That was my motivation, my contribution to the sport, to the team, what have you. But that's what motivated me.
Yeah, money comes and goes, but a legacy lives on.
Right, for sure. I mean, in talking crazy to a guy who was giving me stuff about being a Browns fan. First of all, he should know why I'm a Browns fan, right?
Misinformed, misaligned.
But when he says to me, "Why are you a Browns fan anyway?" And so I just went straight for the jugular. I said, "Look here, because my name is on the stadium, and when they tear this one down and build a new one, it's gonna be on that one also." And that's how I think, right? Because that's part of being the best that you can be. And so we didn't go to the Super Bowl in Cleveland. We didn't win Southwest conferences when I was in Texas, but I feel good about what I did as an individual because people are still able to talk about what I accomplished.
Oh man, I totally agree. And certainly in the Longhorn Nation, I want to digress a little bit. You grew up on the West Coast, Seattle, and I know the story, but for some of our listeners, for even more in the new Longhorn Nation, I guess, because I still got to remind some of them, we're a few years removed from the playing field.
Just a couple.
Just a few years removed. What made you choose Texas? Because sure, now it's just a different world with phones and the global recruiting and all that. It wasn't as prominent, in my opinion, back in the day. So what did they do to steal you? And thank goodness they did.
Yeah, I heard this story in Super Bowl. I can't wait to hear it again.
Well, yeah, I committed to the U. And I committed 2 hours into my visit.
I get it.
And 2 live crew out there.
17-year-old kid in Miami for the first time, and they're obviously giving me everything I want and showing me the Miami life. And I'm like, I'm in right now. I'm in. I couldn't convince my parents that was the place for me. My parents wanted me to go to Notre Dame. I had gone to Catholic school my entire life, so I understand that. But I just didn't want to do it. I was done with going to Catholic school. I mean, I'm Catholic, but I didn't want to continue to go to Catholic school. And then there was also the track side of it. And so, if I were to have gone to Miami, I would have been kind of saying that I'm giving up track because their track team wasn't that good back then. And so it would have been strictly about football. But when they said didn't want me to go there, I opened up recruiting. I told them I wasn't going to Notre Dame, but I'll look at other schools. And looking back at it, Texas was the right place for me, especially when we're talking about football, track, the campus, and the love that players and student athletes get when they're there. It was the best place for me. I mean, and these days I'd probably take just a little less to go there instead of other schools. Just a little.
I will always say this: the two most impactful cities on a young man between the ages of 19 and 26, Miami and New Orleans. Those can really make you grow up quick. Miami and New Orleans. Those are just some crazy cities, man. I was there. 2 hours there is all you need sometimes. You bring up your father though. How motivating was it for you, growing up, having him be a pro ball player? Because we're seeing at least another generation now come to fruition of young guys who's, if you look at baseball, Andrew Jones's son, I mean, this is not really Texas football related, but Andrew Jones's son, Matt Holliday's son, I thought he was wicked young. I'm surprised he has a kid that's eligible. And then Carl Crawford's son are all in this upcoming draft for baseball. How motivating was it for you to kind of go and be a pro ball player? Also, was it a little daunting knowing that it was a lot to potentially live up to?
Once again, that was my motivation. I think back in my era, guys wanted to be like their dads, regardless of what they did.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, especially growing up, all your friends, they wanted to be like their dads because their dads were doing something that they were proud of and taking care of their homes. And I love that. My dad just happened to be a football player. So I wanted to be like my dad. And in wanting to be like him, I wanted to be better than him. And because when I started playing, all I heard was, "That's Terry's son. That's Terry's son." And it's a compliment because my dad accomplished a lot of things in the NFL. And so it's a great compliment, but I wanted to get to the point where people are saying, "That's Eric Metcalf." And so that was my motivation when talking about my dad. But just knowing that he was good just made me want to be a good player as well. And I think it's tougher on a kid who's following their dad's footsteps if they aren't very good at it. And so there's more pressure, but because I knew I was good, I think everyone else knew I was good even at a younger age. I didn't have as much pressure. They just wanted to see me play.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel for a kid like Bronny James, though, who's got to live up to that guy.
Right. I mean, but all he has to do is score 2 points, and they can say they're highest scoring father-son duo in the NBA history.
Yeah. Right.
Crazy. It's crazy. I mean, there's guys like, and obviously Bobby and Barry Bonds take the cake, but there's like, I forget who's on the list. It's like one of the dad or the son.
Griffeys.
The Griffeys, yeah, but those guys like Cecil, like those guys hit, like Ken Griffey Sr. hit, but there's like one father-son duo where the dad, or it's either the dad or the son has like 1 or 2 homers, but the other dad has like 1 million homers. I forget who it's either, maybe it is points.
Well, no, it's I feel like Wayne Gretzky and his brother.
Yeah, that's
goals,
what it is. Yeah,
sibling goals in the NHL, and Wayne Gretzky's brother only had 1 goal.
And it's funny that you asked it because when you're bringing this up, because I've been talking to my friends like at the cigar lounge lately about let's name father-son duels and who's better, the father or the son, in most of them. We go down the list. Steph Curry and Dale Curry, who's better?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Terry Metcalf and Eric Metcalf, who's better?
For purpose of,
Who is better?
For purpose of the show, Eric is better. When you get off there, Terry all day, baby. Speaking of young guys, we have Nick made a list, and we make some graphics. We make lists all the time too. Nick made a list amongst us the other day, and he said we have 2 of the top 10 offensive players in college football, one in Bijan Robinson and one in Xavier Worthy. What do you make of these 2 young men, and what are some maybe improvements or things you'd like to see from them this year?
Well, Bijan is the joint, no question. I don't know what more you can improve on, especially because he's done a lot of great things, and I hate to say it, but his line hasn't been the best. And so he's been able to show that he can do it all, from running the ball, catching the ball, making guys miss, running over guys. And so, I like where he's headed. And if I had to look at it right now, obviously I'd say he's the number 1 back coming out next year. I mean, he probably would have been if he could have come out last year, right? And so it's just for him and being a running back, it's a matter of staying healthy.
Yeah.
And being put in a situation where he's not taking a lot of hits, because the shelf life of a running back these days isn't very long, and they're looked at in that position. They're not looked at like they're going to be around for long, so they're not valued like they should be. And in his case, he should be valued a lot because he does run the ball and catch the ball and blocks as well. When we're talking about Xavier, I mean, he did some fantastic things. I'd like, obviously you look at guys, he's a freshman, but strength is obviously going to be the deal, especially if he gets into the NFL and he has to line up against, say, a Jalen Ramsey. Those are things you have to wear, but you have to be smart as well as being strong, as Quan well knows, playing the receiver position. But it's just, I think for him, because of his position, other than strength and maybe a little size, it's going to be a mental thing. How having to beat man-to-man press when you're playing against real press, not that take a stab at it and bail out. I'm talking about real press, like you're not moving press. No, he's going to learn. He's going to have to learn how to beat those things. And then, I think he has a great coach who can teach him all those things now, and he'll just improve.
I totally agree. It's one thing as a freshman to come in and kind of be somewhat of a surprise, because to your point, 4-star, 5-star, does it translate to the field? Fortunately, as a freshman, it did translate to the field.
Yeah, it did.
But now you're going to be the future. They're going to put their number one on you. And so can you beat those things? Can you progress? Which, by the way, thought about the running back piece. I saw one of my our daughters was running track. One of your biggest fans, Jamal, over the weekend on a very, very long track meet. Lord, it was long. But I'll tell him you said what's up, because he followed your footsteps. And of course, coming in with JC, absolutely every day looked at your picture and said, that's why I'm going to keep running track. That's why I'm going to keep doing this. So,
and that's what I used to tell him when he was there, keep running, because they're worried about the guy who's fast in every sport. That's who people are scared of. And unfortunately, when you get to college, a lot of these college football coaches, because they want control, they take that track away from these guys.
Yeah.
But as soon as their football careers are over in college, what's the first thing everybody does? They go work on the 40. Well, if you ran track, you would have already been working on it, right?
Yeah.
That is a great, it's a great point. Guys we've spoken to, obviously Quan played baseball, was drafted in Quan, were you 4th round pick in baseball? Yeah. Quan's a 4th. We've always felt it's important for guys to play multiple sports, especially like track is like, you're just running realistically. It's like the least dangerous of all the sports to play.
They always told us in high school that you need to play at least 2. No, just to keep yourself busy and stay out of trouble.
Quan played baseball, and you know why I would not play baseball? Because I was scared to get hit by the ball.
You're more scared by a ball than 350-pound linebackers?
Oh, I can make him miss.
Exactly. Hey, that's a good point. You cannot get from in front of a 99 miles per hour baseball. You just got to take it.
Right.
I can make him miss. I don't run for free. We got a couple of great lines in this show,
but it's facts.
Yeah,
I do have a question though about Bijan, because he has. I mean, he's going to be a first rounder, right? And he's getting all this NIL money thrown at him now, and he's got all these big expectations as the number 1 running back in the nation. For you, as a first rounder as well, I mean, when you get on the playing field as a junior your next season, and you already know that all that's coming along, is there a different mindset to keep yourself healthy and maybe not necessarily take plays off, but like not go as hard as you did your freshman and sophomore season?
Which is crazy for you, because you have the ball in your hands all the time, receiving, running, and returning.
Yeah, and then so in my mindset was to score every time I touched the ball, because you're projected to go in the first round like Bijan is, but you want to look better. You want to improve your draft stock, and so it's a matter of just going out there and playing football, not worrying about going in the first round, not worrying about possibly getting injured, because that's the nature of the beast when you play that game. It could happen. So you just have to go out there and play free and hope it happens, but hope everything goes well for you. But I think, in his case, it's up to Sark and those guys, putting them in the right positions to make plays and not take as many hits, because we have enough weapons on that field that guys will be spread out. You can keep the field spread out, and you can put him in position to not take those hits, and he can make a lot of plays and still be successful.
Yeah, I mean, the running back room is incredible this season. It's not just Bijan.
Yeah, which is great. You want guys to look in the NFL and in other colleges, like look at Alabama. You want guys to mix it up. You want as many fresh legs as possible. Mike, I have a couple more for you. Was there ever a time, because you were a do-it-all guy, returning, receiving, and rushing, was there ever a time that you would wish you focused on one, or did you always enjoy kind of having your hands in different pots and getting to do different things in the game?
I need the ball, and so you can't score without the ball, and so if you do all those things, it gives you more opportunities. Really, because I mean, if you think about it, look at my size. I'm 5'10". In college, I'm 5'10", 182 pounds. I'm not a guy who's going to run it in between tackles 25 times, right? Mm-hmm. And so, because that's only going to get me pounded and possibly hurt, but if I'm carrying the ball 15 times, catching 5 to 6 passes and returning punts and maybe a kickoff or 2, then I'm still getting that 25 or more, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing. So it's about having those opportunities to make plays and being put in different situations. I mean, I would tell you any day, if we have 2 running backs in the backfield, and I'm one of them, there's another guy, and he's bigger than me, and you say he's going to get 20 carries, but only get 70 yards, but I'm going to get 4 and get 120, give me that 4. Because I know I scored. I know I took I know I had a long run in there. And so I'd rather be that guy. I think part of the reason I was successful in football, because I didn't want to get hit. That's why I know I make that linebacker miss, because I didn't want to get hit. I just wanted to go out there and play football and score touchdowns and maybe do a little dance.
Man, that's so funny. That actually, I go back to when I was in Denver, and you think about, do you want to be a receiver? Do you want to be a running back? Well, depending on, especially from an NFL standpoint, depending on your situation, I was a lead receiver and I was a punt and kick returner because we didn't throw the ball.
Right.
We really didn't. We'd have a game where, and we made the playoffs and all, but we'd have a game where it'd be 8 catches between everybody, Demaryius Thomas, Eddie Royal, maybe one, Eric Decker, and then me, and I'd have, 6 returns, 6 punt returns, and 4 kickoff returns. And I was like, I touched the ball more than all y'all.
Right.
And so any opportunity to get the ball is what it's about, especially guys our size and competitors. And then, bro, there's, as much as I love receiver, there's nothing like returning a punt or a kick. It's just a whole different mindset. It's just, it's so fun.
Yeah. It's game changing. Thinking about this when you're talking about kick and punt return. Let's start with kickoff return. Most of the time, it's the start of the game, the start of the half, or they just scored. Yeah. Right? Not most of the time. That is how it goes. That's what happens, right? So if you're able to return that kickoff, you have just switched momentum instantly.
Yep.
Instantly, just like that. And you're talking punt return. Your defense obviously stopped them. You return a punt for a touchdown, switch just like that. Now your defense is mad at you a little bit because they got to go right back on the field. But so what? You scored a touchdown, and that changes the game because it's for guys like Quan and myself. It's just so exciting because most of the time you're on those scores you're getting at least 60 yards.
Yes.
So talking punts and kicks. So you're getting a 60-yard punt returns or 70, 80, 90, 100-yard kickoff returns. There's nothing like it.
I know they're trying to make the game safer by, bringing up the kickoffs and all that and encouraging more touchbacks. But man, there is nothing more exciting than seeing a kickoff or a punt return for a touchdown. And I mean, if you want to bring more excitement back to the game, maybe you move the hash a little bit further back.
I love the kick. I mean, the Devin Hester return touchdown in the Super Bowl is like a top 5 Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Hester, Cribs. There's so many dudes that even Dante,
Cribs, bro.
I can name them out of Deion back in the day. I mean, as much as he was locked down, he wanted to return punts and kickoffs. And there's so many of us who love that. So hopefully they don't do. I'm all for safety. We all are. But it's
my thing.
Sean Jameson. I mean, he's lighting it up on punt return.
Yeah. They're on kickoff return. I just think on some teams, because say you have a Daryl Patterson, he doesn't really have a position, right? And everyone who knows him, they know him as a kick returner. So if you take that kickoff out of the game, you have essentially taken one of his team's best players out of the game.
Yeah.
Right. And they're counting on him, to be one of, especially when we're talking about kickoffs, they're counting on him to get, every time he gets it, to get 3 to maybe 4 first downs for the offense.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's how you know a real return man right there, because we speak to first downs. That means the technical side that they get in the league. You're like, if you can give me a first down, that's one less you have to get. If you can get that to the 35, 40, it's like 60 to 70% chance you're getting points. It's so many levels that it plays a massive role to success. Again, you think about that year, we may have been the worst offensive team in the league, but we made it to the playoffs because we always had good field position. We had really good defense, and we had a field goal kicker that can kick it 67 yards. So we had special teams won us a lot of games.
That's winning football.
Yes, sir.
Special teams is key. I mean, so many times we've seen the Longhorns shoot ourselves in the foot there. But on a positive note, we always ask all our guests this on Horns Up. Metcalf, what is your favorite memory ever as a Longhorn? Could be from you playing, watching, anything. Favorite memory ever as a Texas Longhorn? Locker room, whatever.
It
on
could
anything.
be watching also.
Anything on off the field.
Be football,
anything.
track, you name it.
Oh, without a doubt, is watching Vince Young cross that goal line to win the championship. That hands down is my favorite because I never won a Southwest Conference. I never beat A&M. I never beat Oklahoma, and so our team was never a team that was going to be highly ranked or even playing in the Cotton Bowl. So I didn't get to experience that. And so when Vince crossed that line and that game was over, I felt like I had actually played in that game because it was, it was like for guys who never had the opportunities to be in that game, to just feel like we finally did, we accomplished something as well. And so that's why that's my favorite, that national championship game.
It's funny. DJ said the same thing, and now he played the year before, but he said he felt like he was a part of that national championship.
Yeah.
And what's cool on that level is the way we love the school. And I'm gonna take it to another. You made a comment earlier that we're known as that country club. I feel like that was that at least at the time we might have gone a little bit backwards and maybe a little bit too much country club again. But at the time, we took such pride on not being that. And no, we can play physical. We do have good defense. We are offensively minded. We have great run. We have unbelievable linemen. So to that point, and I've never really even thought about that game solidifying, kicking off the country club stigma that we had. But that's real. I think that actually played a cool role, and doing it in Cali where USC had went back to back.
The real country club.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Real country club. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, nowadays, yeah, they're giving players houses.
Right.
Yeah.
I might get in the hot tub time machine and start training as a 5-year-old again to go to USC, get a free home. Sounds epic.
I need a vacation home as well now.
Right. All right. Hey, I tell you what, Metcalf, we need to start talking to our donors about this Letterman and NIL stuff. We need to start taking in consideration over here.
I need mine. They owe me. I don't care who they got to talk to. They owe me because I need and it's one of those things you think about it because and it's hard to say because when you look at somebody and say, oh, he's getting this, he's getting that. Well, I need that and that then.
But what you've done for this university, come on, man. They're getting what I call signing bonuses almost. They haven't done anything yet.
Man, I think I try to stay in school about 6-7 years. Just think about this. If you're not really sure you're going to go to the NFL, but yet you're a 5-star and they're paying you all this money, if you could medical red shirt and you're getting $1 million a year, 6 years, you got $6 million. I don't need to go to NFL.
Guaranteed money too. NFL contracts aren't guaranteed.
Right. And if I do, I'll just stack that on top of this $6 million. But we're just gonna get this $6 million until I get there.
Yes,
it's crazy. It's crazy. Metcalf, thank you so much for joining us. You're hilarious, man. Guys, go check out his podcast, Dog Check. It's great. They cover the Browns, and the Browns, even maybe more so than Longhorns, are in the news this past year. A lot. So go check it out over there. Metcalf, thank you so much for joining us, bro. I loved having you on.
Yes, sir. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em, baby. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em.